Hi guys, it's Kristine Mirelle from Starving Musician's Guide. Today I'm going to talk to you guys about how much money I used to make literally just selling my music on the street, going door to door, and how much you can make busking and performing on the street. So let's go. All right, so I got this question about, my life a long time ago. And if you know anything about me, then you know that I used to go door to door. So I used to knock on people's doors selling my music. And not only that, I used to sing on people's doorsteps, and literally knock on doors like a door-to-door salesman, but musician style. I didn't know anybody else that did it, but I didn't care. I had bills to pay, and I did not want to get a 9-to-5 job. I wanted to focus on music. I had decided that was going to be my life, so I was like, I'm going to do whatever it takes. So I just resorted to selling my music door to door. I did it all over the country. I knocked on tens of thousands of doors. People asked if, how friendly people were. So about 9 out of 10 people would not buy anything from me. And in fact, a lot of them would slam doors in my face and tell me to get a real job. And some of them even brought me to tears. One guy had told me some mean stuff and was like, get off my property. And, you interrupted my dinner and, go get a real job. Slammed the door. And at the time I didn't have a card. I just didn't have any money, and I went and cried in the alley. It was so sad. I cried in the alley, and I'm just thinking, how could that guy be so mean to me? I already felt so terrible knocking on people's doors. People, I already felt like I was like a beggar, But, and he, I started crying because of him, and I just knew I had to keep going. So I was like, you better keep going, because if you don't keep going, that means that he's won, and there's no way he's going to win. You're going to win here. So, I did keep going, and but I do have a lot of interesting stories. So if you were asking about the stories, so I'll tell you some good stories and some bad stories. Some of the funny, bad or weird stories was one time I was knocking on the doors, and I used to be like, hey, my name's Kristine, and I'm working on an album, or I'm just an aspiring, musician, or whatever it is. I'm trying to get to New York or to Hollywood or whatever it is. And this guy opened the door, and he was in his underwear. He was in like tighty whities, and no shame in the tighty whities, whatever you wear. But this guy, I was like, maybe put clothes on when you answer the door. And he opened the door, and he was like, why don't you come inside? And I was like, no, we're not doing that. But thank you. And I don't know. I was like, what would have happened if I would have walked in? It was just so awkward. But I had a little electric scooter, like what kids have, little electric scooters that you pull the little handlebar back and it drives you. And that's how I used to go door to door. I used to just jump on this little scooter. And one time this huge Pitbull jumped out of this fence, and it was chasing me. And I had a big bag of CDs over my shoulder. And there's this huge Pitbull, and I'm just screaming my head off I'm gonna die. And across the street, there's this guy sitting on this chair with his shirt off and a beer, and is just watching me totally expressionless. I was just imagining from his point of view, he's just watching this girl selling music, just getting chased by this dog. I just was I don't know. I think I would have laughed hysterically had I been in his shoes, but at the time it wasn't funny to me because I did not want to die. This is a huge Pitbull chasing me. I'm like, come on, electric scooter, you can go faster. It was crazy, but I did get away, thankfully. So yeah, I had, again, you had the people that, were real mean and yelled at me, but then there were also people who would, maybe they just made dinner and they would invite me in, and they would be like, come eat with us, or, there was even families that would circle around me and pray. They were really nice. And there were these people that were, very kind and showed me a lot of love. And at the time I was sleeping, sometimes Motel 6s or sleeping on friends' couches or whatever it was, Couchsurfing.com, if you've heard of it. And they would say, hey, we have an extra room. Why don't you stay here for the weekend? They would hear about my story, and I'm sleeping at the Motel 6, and they would, offer me a room for a few days. And so there were a lot of really nice people as well. I recognize now, it probably wasn't safe. I don't know that I would recommend it to people, but if you know me, you just know that I'm just weird, and I don't care. I'll sleep in my car, and I'm very free-spirited, so to me it didn't feel weird at all. Of course I tried to use my better judgment, but you can't really tell. You never really know how people are, but I just trusted. And so yeah, I had people like that, or sometimes I would knock on doors and it might be a little old lady who never had any company in a long time, and I would sit there and if she had a piano, I remember one little old lady played the piano and sang for her and hung out with her for like 4 hours and then went on my way. So I had a lot of really cool stories like that, or people would like bake me cookies or something like that and send me off with like a bag of cookies, or I don't know, it was just the gestures were really nice, especially when 9 out of 10 people were being kind of cruel to me. And then 1 out of 10 would be really nice, and it would make up for everybody else. And I've kind of adopted that in life. It's like 9 out of 10, if you knock on enough doors, because literally I was knocking on doors. I was literally going through neighborhoods and, going door to door sales. And you knock on enough doors, you only need a small percentage of people to say yes. When I talk to people about booking paid shows, I'll call 100 venues in a city. If 3 venues say yes, that's all I need. I can play 2 days a week at each of those venues, and now I have a full-time performance job, And yes, I had to make 100 phone calls, but it doesn't matter how many phone calls you have to make. You could be 3%, 3% success rate, doesn't matter. You have to keep calling, because if you stop at the 5th venue that said no, then that's it. You're not going to get any gigs. And actually, I did, I've been sending out a video that I made of how to book gigs. This is something that I've used for so long. It's really easy. If you would like to get it, and I can send it actually to you, so you can, if you're a musician or you're a singer or you're a band, and you would like to get it, just comment that you want it. Just put "I want it" in the comment box, and I'll send it to you so that you can get it. My life has now changed. I've been traveling the world and doing some pretty cool stuff, performing full time, not having to go door to door anymore and get chased by Pitbulls, thankfully. But people did ask how much money I made, and I would make about maybe $30 an hour, pretty consistently. It was pretty consistent. So if I worked 7-8 hours, I could make more than $200. But usually I was exhausted because I would be in like 115-degree weather, and it would be really hot, and I'd be really sweaty, and I'd be, it would just be really tough, or it'd be really cold. And I didn't always have money for like jackets and stuff like that. So I couldn't always, be warm either. So, my circumstances made it a little hard for me, but all the money that I made went right back into my music. So that's how I paid producers and how I paid musicians. That's how I got my CDs printed out and posters and that sort of thing. Was by going door to door. So I didn't have money. I still didn't have a car. I still didn't, have my own place. I was still sleeping on friends' couches and for years. But that was how I was able to record. I recorded like 7 albums. I released an album every year, and I just barely got by. But, I was figuring it out. And like I said, I figured it out. Figured out how to book gigs. I figured out how to turn it into a career. I figured out how to finally make decent money, and very blessed this year. I bought me a house and some things just from performing. I mean, definitely paid off, but it took me a very long time of going through stuff like door-to-door sales. If you would like that video, so you don't have to go door to door and you don't have to go through what I went through, just comment. Again, just put "I want it" in the comment box. I'll send it to you. I made a YouTube channel and a mailing list where I'm sending out like free videos on how to book gigs and stuff like that. So just comment and I'll send it to you, and then I can send you the YouTube and everything if you'd like to join and get all this free videos so you can figure out how to do it for yourself. I'm really happy to help anybody that wants to do this. So that's about it. If you have any questions, guys, comment. Put it in the comment box. And don't forget to subscribe if you're watching this on my YouTube. Make sure to go ahead and subscribe. Comment if you want the video, and I will send it to you. All right, bye, guys.